Here is our winner, Classy Steve Masse.
You hear it all the time in motorsports. If he had the same opportunities these spoiled silver spoon kids have, he'd win every other race. Well, today, the driver that should have been given an opportunity to drive a well-funded team on the NASCAR Modified Tour is none other than Classy Steve Masse. The Bellingham, Massachusetts hot shoe came into the open-wheel modified scene unknown, but once he got going, he was the definition of a dark horse. You see, in racing, a dark horse is someone who is not on the common man's list of popular drivers. They won't come up in the conversation unless those involved know more than just what's going on at the surface level. This is the very definition of Steve Masse. Unless someone brings his name up, he gets overlooked by someone who has lesser stats but more popularity. It's everything that is wrong in the world of racing, and it will probably always stay that way. So pay attention, because this is a story about a driver that you should know off rip. Steve Masse started racing in go-karts, but then decided to start his open-wheel modified career at just 19 years old. At the Thompson Speedway, racing in the Sunoco modified division on a weekly basis in 2008. In addition, Masse competed on the modified racing series in his family-owned number 13 car. He was competitive, but didn't start hitting his stride until the 2009 season. After a practice crash in the 2008 Thunder Road race, he would rebound and take down his first ever victory in a tour-type modified at the Thunder Road Memorial Day Classic event. He went from third to first with less than 30 laps to go to get the win. He passed both Chris Pastriak and Rowan Pennick to get the win. He dominated the final laps and would set the tone for his modified career. Masse was able to get some help from Brad LaFontaine at Northeast Race Cars and Parts, and it helped with the setup of the car. Before the 2009 season, Masse had a reputation of maybe being a little bit too aggressive and trying too hard on the track. But with a good finish at Waterford Speed Bowl, and now this victory at Thunder Road, his reputation has changed. Masse stated, "I have built up confidence and my driving skills a little bit, but it really is just a little more patience. I do not think it is so much my driving skills, but more that I am taking it one car at a time, and I am not trying to do too much at once. And it has worked out good so far." At season's end, Masse finished fourth in the standings and was named the SPAFCO Most Improved Driver of the Year award. Heading into the 2010 season, Steve Masse had high hopes for his family-owned team. Without sponsorship, they were running on house money, but that didn't hold Masse back. The only question mark was if he could stay cool under the helmet or not, and indeed he did. Masse scored 3 race victories on the season, including the season finale at the Lee USA Speedway during Oktoberfest weekend. He won the biggest event of the year, the Wings End Wheels event at the Waterford Speed Bowl, and repeated at the Thunder Road Speedway. At the finale, Masse said, "I want a championship next year. That's what I want. I'm gonna get it next year. If I run the full season, I'm gonna get it." Masse had a great season. He was one of the few to have a multi-win season, and you could tell he was maturing in each interview he had with the type of answers he was giving.
Both. Me and my crew chief Josh, we're really getting pretty good at what I want in the car, and he knows, when I say stuff, how I mean it, what I mean by it, and I'd have to say that running this tour, this clean tour, that it's helped me with my racing and racing people clean and getting by them with a good car and not, SK style driving as opposed to, using 8 tires to turn instead of 4 tires, and that's really the big difference. Is my learning curve, and the team as well is, you can only drive what the car gives you sometimes, and I can have a good car recently, so.
In 2011, Masse didn't run the full season. However, he made a big splash at the biggest event on the calendar, the Twin 125's UNOH Showdown at his home track of Thompson Speedway. This event had a special 50-lap $10,000 to win race for those that finished high enough in the twin races as well. He participated in the NASCAR Southern Modified race and was dominating. He took the lead on lap 48 from Donnie Leah and was not going to be contested for the win. However, the caution flag flew with 7 laps to go, and it set up a restart. On the restart, Masse was blacked flagged for apparently jumping the restart. Masse didn't adhere to the penalty and crossed the line first and even drove into victory lane. Once the fans got word of the penalty, everyone was booing the officials. The biggest win of his career for the biggest dark horse was just ripped away by a poor call from the officials. Masse stated, "I went in the same spot I did in all the other restarts, and I was never warned, so I just kind of did what I was doing before." and I did not even get a big jump, so I am not sure what they thought. I saw a replay. It looks like I went roughly a car length before the line, but everyone else went with me, so it was not like I was way ahead of them, and it did not affect anything. Everyone went together, and it was a clean start. There is not much more that I can do as a driver. We just feel like we just had a win taken away. To go out there and try to put on a show and to start in last place in a race where everyone is going to be trying to boogie to the front, it is not worth it for a team like us. We have only 4 guys working on this car. We have already gone out there and did what we wanted to do today. In addition, the penalty would knock him out of the 50-lap event and stop him from really having a nice payday for one of the small teams that could really use it. Just like in 2011, the 2012 season saw Masse only compete in a few events. However, he was able to get 2 second-place finishes and Seekonk and Thompson at the end of the season and help get the momentum going into 2013. Masse stated, "I am just going to stick with the modified racing series because it is well run and it is real fun coming to the racetrack and racing with these guys." The 2013 season was where Steve Masse would start to rise up and compete in more races and victories. Masse's season started at the Waterford Speed Bowl in the annual Blast-Off event. Masse had to come from deep in the field if he wanted to win. He made his way up through the field by passing cars on the outside lane. When he was in third, he was able to get by Penning for second, again utilizing the outside lane, and finally brought the crowd to their feet when took the lead at Todd Anarumo for what would be the win. With less than 4 laps to go, it was a statement race for Masse, who still wasn't sure about running the full season. It was Masse's second Waterford Speed Bowl win, a track where he would continue to have more and more success at against some very stiff competition. After having to miss a race due to a crash at Canaan Fair Speedway, he came back and was able to win at the Beech Ridge Speedway. The drivers were side by side at the bull ring all race long, and Masse came out on top. Masse said, "I think that it was an awesome race. I surround myself with good people that lift me up, and we got the job done today. This is a big win for us. We just totaled our whole race car a couple of weeks ago. We put it back together in a couple of days, and she is as good as new. I tried to pace the car and save the tires. The car was a little tight at the end of the race, but I think I did a good job of saving." Heading into the Stafford Speedway, Masse was looking to check off another CT racetrack he hasn't won at from his list. He had some stiff competition from the NASCAR modified regulars and track champions, but he was able to stay in the fight for the win with them. He made passes outside and inside, and was able to take the lead past halfway on a restart from Ryan Preece and never looked back. He became the first driver to win 3 races in the 2013 season on the Valenti Modified Racing Series and was hungry for more. He was unable to win any other races this season, but ended up with 3 wins, 6 top 5s, and 7 top 10 finishes throughout the 17-race season, where he only competed in 15 events. He was able to finish 8th in standings even after missing 2 events. The 2014 season was an up-and-down year for Steve. He dominated the 4th race of the year at Seekonk and took down the win, but in future races, he would have equipment issues and be involved in wrecks while running well that would hinder his championship fight. He would venture out into the Tri-Track Open Modified Series at Lee USA Speedway and almost won the race after leading, but would be passed by Matt Hirschman, and on the final lap, he would get loose and spin, ending his great day. However, he would manage to get 7 top 5s and 8 top 10 finishes in the 12 races he started in, and end up with 2 wins for the season. The second win would come at the track he wanted to win at since he started racing, the Thompson Speedway.
Called Thompson home for me, and that's where I started racing modifieds, and I mean, it means a lot to get a win anywhere, but to get a win at Thompson would definitely be the icing on the cake for the season for me. If I could just win there, I'd be happy.
He
but
started from the pole at the World Series 75 for the Valenti Modified Racing Series and never looked back. He was due for a good run at Thompson and was able to get his first win there after the heartbreak in 2011, where the win was stolen from him. Masse said it was a statement race win for his team in victory lane, and he wasn't wrong. After leading all 75 laps in his own equipment, going up against the top drivers in New England. He now has won at all 3 of the Connecticut tracks, and that is a major feat in modified racing to accomplish. He stated he had to put the car together in 1 week and install the fresh motor from Billy the Kid Racing engines, and it propelled him to victory. 2015 was a lame duck year for Steve. He tried to run the NASCAR Modified Tour full-time, but with the direction the tour was going, it was very difficult for his unsponsored family-owned team to be competitive against the guys with brand new chassis, heavily financed teams with a bunch of experience in new engine and suspension packages that really changed the game. He only competed in 9 races before he went back to what he knows best, the MRS Series and the Tri-Track Open Modified Series events. He was able to get 2 top 5s and 3 top 10s in the 4 races he competed in on the MRS Tour, and on the Tri-Track Series had same stats in the 5-race season, ending with a close second at the finale at Waterford, where he was leading late in the race. 2016 would see Steve Masse get his biggest victory of his career. The Tri-Track Open Modified Series created a race that would be bigger than the Big Wings and Wheels event Waterford had, and it would include the greatest modified drivers in the country for a special $10,000 payday to the winner. He started in the 5th position and would carefully make moves to get himself into the positions he needed to be in for contention for the win. He used the outside lane to his advantage and eventually was ready to make his move for the win. With 11 laps to go, he passed Richard Savary for the lead and held on to become the $10,000 man. I was at this race, and it was one of my favorite moments as a fan because he was my favorite driver at the time, and it's been a while since I was able to see a favorite driver of mine win, and it was great. As it stands now, it's amazing to think that this was Steve Masse's final victory in a modified. However, he did continue to race sporadically in 2017 and 2018. He came close to capturing the inaugural Short Track Showdown at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway in Loudon, New Hampshire, but was unable to get a good enough draft off the leader to make a move for the win. In addition, at the Thompson World Series in 2016, Masse should have won the race. Unfortunately, the leader Woody Pitkat had a tight handling race car and chose the inside lane for the late race restart. This gave Masse the preferred lane, and with the better handling race car, he most likely could have made the pass. However, Pitkat slid up the racetrack in turn 1 and put Masse into the marbles, and Masse lost the race. Things like this really hurt Steve, and in 2018 at the same event, would place the 13th team on the sidelines. He was up front but was wrecked entering turn 3 and destroyed the race car. I mean, the left front tire was basically in the firewall and windshield.
My take, Woody sucks. He put me right in the wall. That's pretty much about it. Well, I drove him pretty clean. I was behind him. I could have done that any of the laps. I got underneath him. I got underneath him a couple times. And he knew once I was on his outside going down the front stretch, he knew the race was over. Pretty much what he did, he just kind of drove it in like I wasn't there. Maybe his spotter didn't tell him, I don't know.
In Steve Masse's career, he has 10 wins, 36 top 5s, and 55 top 10s in his 110 race career across the Modified Racing Series and Tri-Track Series. He has a 48.5% top 10 rate with a 9.3% winning percentage and a 33% top 5 rate in the MRS and a 30.8% rate for top 5s in the Monaco Modified Tri-Track Series. Now those are actually pretty decent numbers, especially in blood out of a stone underfunded equipment. I actually messaged Steve on Facebook a couple years ago just to see if he had anything in the works, but he said his car was still damaged, he didn't have a sponsor, and nobody was willing to give him the drive. I asked if he tried to get a hold of the 01 Tour team, and he said he did, but they weren't willing to give him seat. Guess that team wants to get lapped every 8 laps. Oh wait, I can't say that. I'll get canceled, ha 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 ha. I guess if I don't win the lottery, I won't be able to start a race team and hire Steve to be my driver with brand new equipment. Hopefully someone with decent financing in their race team will give the kid a few races to race again, because the kid can wheel. Today, John McKennedy and Ronnie Williams are the drivers I root for because they are guys that are hard-nosed guys that are underrated. But if Steve came back, he'd always be my favorite driver. One can dream so long from the Speedway.